Morning everyone, it's Audrey, Stitchy Witch 42. It's Monday the 18th of January and I'm back again for another update. As you can see, I am up in the crafting burrow today. And let me emphasize burrow. It's cold outside. The pellet stove ran out of pellets last night. That's how we heat our house. And Mark and I both prefer a little bit cooler when we're sleeping at night, so we just left it off all night long. So my house is a bit chilly this morning. Ergo, burrow, crafting burrow. I have stuff, I have notes, and I'm probably going to repeat some of the things that I did on my last video, but that's to be expected, right? Right. Okay, so what have I been doing the last couple of weeks? I got my hair cut. I went to see my hairdresser the day after I did my last video. I walked in, she goes, "Your hair is long." And I said, "Yes, cut it off, please." She goes, "How much do you want taken off?" I said, "Start at 3 inches and we'll go from there." By the time she was done, I think I've lost about 3.5 inches. I had her layer the sides and oh my God, I feel so much lighter. It's wonderful. Hairdressers, they're a great thing. And it had been almost a full year since the last time I saw her. So it was a very, very good thing. I have been doing some stitching. I have finished a few pieces, but I haven't fully finished anything. I went to Acorns and Threads and I met up with some friends. So I purchased stuff there and through Instagram and eBay. And let's just start. Okay. I have been stitching on a pattern called Moon Charm. This is a stitch along that I am doing with Gail Phillips from YouTube. She is msstitch01 on Instagram. I am keeping my project in one of my project bags. This was a Vanna Pfeiffer style project bag that I made shortly after I saw her video on that. I use extra thick foam in these, so they're very squishy. I like them. I don't make them anymore because I started messing up on them. Her directions are so easy, and I messed up on them, so I don't make them anymore. I'm keeping my flosses in a Bags Plus Floss Buddy. And I really, really like this one. It's Harry Potter theme, but it's kind of celestial looking too, which I thought was perfect for Moon Charm. Okay. So I want to show you my horribly bad cover photo of this picture, of this chart. No, I'm not prepared. Well, I kind of sort of prepared myself, but, you know, I didn't. So what's the fun in that? We have 2 computers in our house. Mark has one in his office, and that one is tied up to the printer. I have a laptop, and for some reason, we can't figure out how to get my laptop to work with his printer. So I have to use his computer to print things. And his printer lately has been making everything come out with shades of purple. So while this is what the pattern looks like, this is a horrible, horrible color tone for this picture, for this pattern. The colors in it, I think, are absolutely gorgeous. And I know I showed them to you last time, but look at those colors. Those are absolutely beautiful. And besides using all these colors, there are 6 blended colors in this pattern. I've only used 2 so far. So I've corresponded them with where they're at on the chart with where I'm putting them into the pockets so that I don't have to write a note and tell me which one it is. I hope that's going to work. Who knows? So, yeah, left the needle sticking out the front again. This is where I'm at. Get a little bit closer for you. I'm using the ring light again, so we'll see whether I can get things lined up so that you can actually see them. But I started some of the back stitch on this leaf here just to see what that looked like. And there's a couple of blended colors in this leaf here, but I think that they are absolutely gorgeous. I love this pattern so much. Like I was telling you on the last video, I had wanted to make a dream catcher for myself for a long time. And I searched for crescent moon dream catchers. I did so many Google searches over the year for them, and Gail found it. So when she found it and she showed it, I hopped right on it because this is something I have wanted to do for years. I made dream catchers for both my granddaughters. I could only find one of the patterns that I use. This was the pattern that I stitched for my youngest granddaughter, Riley. And she still has it in her room. Rowan still has hers in her room. This is going to be a past the stash later on in the video. So if you're interested in this, hang around. We'll get to the past the stash later. Alrighty. So Moon Charm was the first thing that I've been working on. The second thing that I have been working on, this is for Becca's Zoom group. They're doing the monthly Orny Sal. This is a pattern by AnnaLee Waite. And as you can see, there are 8 patterns on here. So far, I have stitched the owl, the pumpkin face, and I'm working on Happy Halloween. So I had a piece of fabric, a 28 count linen. The colorway is flax. And this is the little owl. And I think that this is really, really cute. Now, the way these pieces are shown to be finished is how I wanted to finish them when I get them done. Both the owl and the pumpkin are made as flat mounts with the end of the mat board underneath right at the edge of the stitching on these. And then they're backed with a larger piece of mat board. And they all have a stake coming out of the bottom of them to display them. I like that way of finishing them. So I thought that I would do that. And as I was thinking about that, I thought, well, how am I going to display them if I have them on stakes? And then I thought, I need a flower frog. Well, I have a flower frog. I have one that sits on my desk out there, but it's full of stuff that I use for journaling. And it's blue. And these are Halloween pieces. And I didn't want a blue one. So I went on to eBay and I did a search for black glass flower frog. And I found this. I found this beauty here for only $28 and free shipping in the United States. It's got this nice heavy base. It has the top that comes off, so I will be able to put the stakes for these in here and display them on that when I have them all done. It's a plan. So this was the first piece that I stitched on here. The second one that I wanted to stitch was the Happy Halloween. And I told you last time that I started stitching it across the bottom of this piece of fabric. And after I had Hal stitched, I realized it wasn't going to fit, because the pattern suggests that you stitch this on 30 count. This is a 28 count. Not much difference there. But according to the instructions, the design is 12.5 inches wide. This piece of fabric is 13 inches wide. This is where the frogging started. I have been doing so much frogging since the beginning of the year. It's just crazy. So far, it is the year of the frog for me, because this hasn't been the only project that I've frogged on. But I unstitched Hal, and I started again, and this is as far as I've gotten the second time around. Now I have to tell you something. This is probably one of the most boring stitches I have done in a long time, and that's saying something. These letters are normally quick and easy to stitch, but these letters are long, and they're one stitch wide. It's a horrible color of brown. And yeah, it's just, I got bored. So I had H and Hal done, and I decided that I needed to start something else. So I started the third piece. So I turned my fabric back around, and underneath I stitched the little pumpkin face. Now I want you to take a look at those eyes and the nose. I was working on this at work, and I had the eyes and the nose stitched, and they're the same color of brown. Over here is Happy Halloween, and the same color as the owl, because the same colors are used on all of these designs. I want you to see him. I stitched the eyes and the nose first in this brown. And one of my coworkers came in and saw what I was doing, and she goes, "Are you stitching poop emojis?" They kind of sort of looked like it. They kind of sort of look like it, and I think I will always look at this piece now and see that. But I went ahead and I was stitching, and I was adding the yellow and I was adding the orange in, and when I got to the nose, I realized I made a mistake there. And I thought to myself, after picking out Hal, I am not picking out a nose. Not. So I adjusted it by adding a couple extra stitches in the orange around the nose, and I am perfectly fine with that. So this little piece is finished, and just like the owl above it, it's meant to be finished with the mat board right up to the stitching. So I still have to finish my E and the other EN, and then put another one of these motifs over here on the side of this, and I will be done with that. My plan for this is that since I'm going to display it in the flower frog, I would like to have at least 3 of them to put in the flower frog. Now on the front of the pattern, it shows Happy Halloween on stakes too, but this is going to be way too big to put on a stake and put it in the flower frog. But fortunately for me, there are other people who do floss tube videos who are kind enough to do finishing tutorials, and I watched Helen D do one just the other day on a cube finish. Now, I've seen cube finishes before, and it never really appealed to me, and I never thought that I would do a cube finish until I watched Helen's video. I think that's going to be a perfect way to finish off Happy Halloween. She used her stitched piece. She used a coordinating fabric for the back of it, and then she took that coordinating fabric and just made a real simple band to cover up the seam between the stitch piece and the backing piece. And I liked that because all the ones that I've seen before have great big bows on them. And if you've been around for any length of time, you know that great big bows are not my aesthetic. Picks and flowers, not my aesthetic. I have seen some absolutely beautiful, beautiful finishes done that way, but I'm not going to do it. I joked and told my friends one time, and I'll tell you here too so that you know, if you ever see me do a finish that has a great big bow on it and picks and flowers on it, that is my universal distress call. I have been abducted by aliens. Send help. But seriously, I've watched many people who have done finishes with bows and picks and flowers, and I think that they're absolutely gorgeous. They just don't fit my house. Growing up, the house I wanted to live in was the Addams Family house. And I've been working on years on making my own version of the Addams Family house here. I have my witch wing. I have a hobbit library and a crafting bureau, and that's my witch wing. And there are no bows and picks in here. No. So Happy Halloween will be done as a cube finish. I will use Helen D's tutorial on how to get that done. These two will be finished on the mat board, similar to what is on the front of the pattern. That's my plans for those. So, 2 finishes already. But wait, there's more. Okay. Oh, the hashtag I'm using for those is the one from Becca's Zoom group. It is hashtag monthly ornysal. And if you watched last video and if you know my sense of humor, I came up with the notsohornysal. And the other day I was on Instagram, and just for the fun of it, I went to that hashtag, and both Becca and I have used both the monthly ornysal and the hashtag notsohornysal, and somebody else has too. And when I saw that, it just made me giggle. It made me giggle so much. So thank you for using my not so horny hashtag. I thought it was just a lot of fun. Okay, I had another start from Blackbird Designs, Winds of Autumn. I worked on October 31. I started this for Becca's birthday, which was the 4th, and the hashtag she's using for that is hashtag Becca's Blackbird Sal. Frogging. There has been frogging. Okay, I should have taken this one off the Q-snap, but you know. Oh, might as well take it all off. There is my finish on October 31. Anna, I'm using them to support this, okay? So you can see I'm using them. So I started at the 3 and I came down and I was working up and around and I got over here and I was so pleased with myself when I got the bird and the martini done that I posted a picture on Instagram. I got a bird and a martini done. Then I found out it's a drunken bird with a martini. Because the first time I stitched the drunken bird with the martini, I messed up. I made the tail too big. So I had to frog. And then I got the bird, the drunken bird with the martini done again. And I went down and I started stitching this motif right here. And then I was going to go stitch the 1, and I realized that the 1 didn't line up with the 3 and with this motif. Because up here at the top, where that part of the crescent moon is, that matches with that bottom part of the star, I had started it up here at the top star. So that crescent moon and everything that followed was 5 stitches too high. So I had to unpick this motif. I had to unpick the drunken martini drinking bird. I had to unpick the stars. I had to unpick the moon. And then I started over at the bottom and I came up and I did the 1 and then I did these and it's done. Who knew that martinis, birds cannot handle their martinis? But there you go. So anyway, sorry about that. Anyway, in the book, it shows this being done as a drum. And the picture here shows some decorated or some fabric that has a really pale design on it. I don't have any fabric that looks like that. And I want to make it into the drum like this. And I've got all the directions here. So I was reading the directions and it said to make the side, you cut a strip of fabric 2.5 inches by 16.25 inches. This measurement includes a 1/4 seam allowance. So if we're taking a 1/4 seam allowance off of each side, that's 15 3/4, right? We're doing math here. We're doing math here. So then I thought, what can I do? And I turned the page and here's another wonderful piece. This is the Nebraska Prairie pattern that's in the book. And the bottom of it has got this really nice band of stitching on it. So I'm reading the instructions on this one, and it says that the sampler size is 6 inches by 2 7/8, which means the pattern for this band here is 6 inches. So I'm thinking, and I hope I've done the math right, if I stitch this pattern 2.5 times, that should make 15 inches of stitching. If, according to the other directions, what I will have visible on my band that would go around it would be, I would have 15 3/4 inches. 15 inches should be enough for me to stitch that motif and use it as the side of my drum. So I moved down to the bottom of my fabric, and this time I measured it first because I learned my lesson. And I started stitching that motif down here. So I am going to do 15 inches of this motif and use this as the side of the drum, and this will be the top of it. I have already frogged on this too. The frog is strong so far this year. I'm hoping that the frog decides to give me a bit of a break, but you know, the frog has been strong so far this year. And I've been using my Amazon bags for these, simply because I knew that I would be taking these to and from work, and I would rather have something that's a little rain resistant with the weather we've been having here in Oregon lately. So, 2 of the ornaments have been finished. October 31st has been finished, so that's 3 finishes, and it's only the 18th of the month. But there's another one. This was one of the pieces that I carried over from last year. This is the pattern that was sent to me from Vicki, Stitch and Buttons. This is Charting Creations. This is the Dragon Circle silhouette. Now, the way this is supposed to be stitched is all of the dragon is solid stitching, and I didn't do that. With this pattern, she had sent a piece of 18 count white Aida, and she had sent a skein of floss, one of the DMC variegated flosses, color number 4522. And that colorway is just gorgeous. It goes from hunter green to plum purple to both a light and a dark earthy brown, and it's just stunning. And I didn't want a stripy dragon, so I wasn't going to stitch back and forth and back and forth. I decided that I was going to stitch the outline first and then stitch all the inner outlines. And my original plan was to continue doing that and filling it in so that I would have a solidly stitched dragon. But the more I stitched on this, the more I just liked the outline. I think that this is just one of the coolest things. And this was not the way it was intended to be stitched. But I think that this is just the coolest looking pattern I've seen in a long time stitched this way. So as far as I'm concerned, this one is done. It's going to be finished into a circular candle mat. And I love this one so much. Originally, I thought of giving it to my son Philip, but it's mine. I stitched it. It's mine. That's all I have to say on that. It's mine. Okay. So then I got another package from Vicki. She sent me this card, a postcard. Mom found your stash. And on the back it said, I can't even with this postcard, one of many I inherited from my mom, saw the ornament and felt you really needed it. It's after Christmas, but deal with it. She sent me an ornament for my tree. It's bacon and eggs. Yeah, I got bacon. I'll have bacon on my tree next year. I think that this is just so cute. Alrighty then. Check my list. I've talked about that. I've talked about that. I've talked about that. I talked about that. Okay. The next thing on my list is talking about my trip up to Acorns and Threads. Last Thursday, Robyn, who is Lady Robyn S on YouTube, she had contacted, I think there was 6 of us all together that she had contacted, and said that she had an appointment down in Portland on Thursday and wanted to know if any of us were wanting to gather with her at Acorns and Threads and do lunch before her appointment. Yes. Yes, please. I want to see my friends. I want to go shopping. So 3 of the people couldn't join us because of life, and that's understandable. But the three of us that were there was Robyn and Anna, Stitch Roadie, and myself. Now, Janine at Acorns has it set up so that she's only allowing 2 people in the store at one time. When I got there and got out of my car, Robyn got out of her car. We walked over to the store together. They have the table set up outside with hand sanitizer, and they had a notepad there so that we could sign in, write our phone number down, and then go back and sit in our car and wait until we were called for our turn. Well, Robyn and I were standing there talking, and Robyn noticed that Anna was inside the shop. And of course, she comes over with her camera and films us standing outside the shop. You know, rub it in. You're inside. We're outside waiting. So she opened up the door to talk to us. And I think I was the one that suggested it. It may have been Robyn. One of us suggested it. Why don't you come wait outside with us? Sandy, who's on the list ahead of both of us, is in her car waiting. She could go in with the other lady that's there. And when the 2 of them come out, maybe Janine will let all 3 of us go in at one time. And Janine agreed to that. So she called Sandy. Sandy went into the shop, and Anna and Robyn and I stood outside and talked. What we didn't know is that there was some crazy lady in the parking lot yelling at us. Who was that crazy lady? You'll find out. And she's crazy in the best way, because I love her, and I know you love her too. So anyway, we went in and we did our shopping. And I had my projects with me that I wanted to buy supplies for. So I showed this one last time. This is a Mill Hill pattern. It is a Jim Shore design. It is called Harvest Trio. And the front of it shows that it is stitched on banding, and it uses beads. It uses Mill Hill beads. It's a Mill Hill design. Go figure. So I went inside and I went over to the Mill Hill beads. And as soon as I got over there, Anna calls me and tried to distract me with a steampunk pigeon, sparrow, pigeon. Anna's video, she shows a picture of it. Steampunk sparrow. Whatever. She tried to distract me with it. It didn't work. I went back. This pattern calls for 9 different Mill Hill beads. So there are oranges and purples and greens and purples and black and goldish and purple and green. 9 of them. Make sure I'm going to sit in my chair and not land on my butt on the floor. So I got all of those picked out, and then I asked if they had banding, and they did. So I got a piece of 8-inch wide pyramid natural white banding. So the sides are already done. This is 22 inches long. The design said 18 inches would be enough, but this piece had already been cut. So, you know, I'm not going to have them cut another piece when this would work just as well. So this is what I'm going to stitch it on. And I will be starting this one soon. Not exactly sure when soon is, but I will be starting this one soon. Okay. So along with those, I went over and I picked up some more Bowen 28 count needles. I picked up some more Bowen beading needles because I have 2 and one of them is getting very bent. and I grabbed 2 more of the Mill Hill needle threaders because I need them. So I got those. Then the other 2 pieces that I had taken up with me, I saw this pattern on Lisa Smith's video, Kindred Stitcher. She had finished this a while back. This is Dulaney Woods Treasures. This is All Hallows Eve. And this pattern is just beautiful. And of course, when I went to look for this one, I came across this one and needed to have it too. So I wanted to get fabric for both of these. This one says that the 2 colors that are used in it are Gast Colors Ginger Snap and Onyx. I think I have Ginger Snap from the Plum Street Sampler piece from stitching this one. I think Ginger Snap was one of the colors. I'm like 99% sure Ginger Snap was one of the colors. We'll find out. If not, I'll use DMC. So for that one, Janine did not have either of the called for colors. So for All Hallows Eve, the recommended was a 32 count aged saffron from Dames of the Needle. I chose Weeks Linen 32 count in cocoa. I think that this will just look great with it, look fantastic with the colors. The other one was a 32 count Peeps Lost Sheep Linen. I got a 32 count Belfast linen in antique ivory because looking at the colors on the front of it, it helps if I show the front of it. I thought that that would look really, really good there. So those are 2 pieces that I would like to get started soon. The only other thing I bought at Acorns is some replacement clamps for my Q-snaps. When I used my 11 by 17 Q-snap, I broke one of the long ones, so I have 2 short ones on this side. And this one is cracking too. It's got a great big split down the front of it. And these long ones are really hard to get off. So I like using the smaller ones. So I got replacements for that. All right. So that's some of my haul. What else have I been doing since I talked with you last? Well, I came up here and I decided to do some cleaning out of my patterns. Prior to doing flosstube videos, I was a monogamous stitcher. I would buy one pattern, I would buy the fabric for that pattern, I would buy the floss for that pattern. It was all DMC. I would stitch it, I would finish it, and then I would move on to the next thing. So I didn't have a stash. For being a stitcher who's been stitching 41 years, I really didn't have much of a stash. And then flosstube happened. And it was see something, buy it, gotta have it. Well, I came upstairs and I went through my bins. I have 3 of these. And this one here is all the things that I decided I'm not going to stitch. So chances, some of them are also ones that I have stitched. Some of them I'm going to put up on Stash Unloading to sell. Some of these are going to end up being giveaways, past the stash type thing. So you will be seeing a lot of this file folder over the next year because I would like to whittle that down. My plan for this year is to buy the patterns that I know that I would like to get started this year, and buy the linens and the threads for those patterns that I know that I want to get started this year, and to finish the ones that I'm carrying over from last year. I don't want to end up with a whole bunch of projects because I carried over 6, I started 5, I finished 4, but I don't want that number to keep growing because it makes my brain twitch. It does. It makes my brain twitch. The other thing that I purchased was from Instagram. Drew Weasley had put this up. It's the Just Cross Stitch Halloween special from 2017. I didn't have this one. I started doing my videos in 2017, and I remember somebody, and I don't remember who, did a flip through of this, and the way they did it was, oh, I don't like that one. 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 So I didn't buy this, and it's the only one that I don't have from when I started collecting them. So when Drew put it up, I said, me please, and he sent it to me. And I looked through here, and there are some in here that I know I will not stitch, but there's some in here that I think are really cute too. So I know as a floss tuber that I have been enabled by other floss tubers. Moon Charm is a prime example. I saw it, I had to go get it. I knew I was going to stitch it because I've wanted a dream catcher for myself for years. Let us enable you. But when somebody does a flip through and they're going, oh, I don't like that, oh, I don't like that, oh, I don't like that, look at it for yourself and decide whether it's something you want or not. If you have an LNS, they should have these. Let us enable you in a good way. So I got this. I'm happy I got it. I will add it to my stash. Okay. So, giveaways. I want to pass the stash on this Dreamcatcher pattern. And the original price was this was $4.50. This was originally from an AC Moore because it still has the price tag on there, which also says $4.50. And it's one of those folders that you open it up and the pattern's on the back. There are no blended colors in here, but there is a lot of colors in here. So anyway, if this is something that you're interested in, like the video, please be a subscriber. Don't say giveaway, be over 18. I will mail this anywhere because it's just a flat piece of paper. And talk to me about dream catchers. The other thing that I want to give away is something very unique. Well, not very unique. I watched Niecy Lynn when she did her makeup video, and you don't want to watch me put on makeup. So we're not even going to go there. But she talks about lip colors all the time. I love Burt's Bees lip shimmers, and several years ago, my daughter introduced me to the Peony colorway. And I know you can't see that, but Peony is what I use like 99% of the time. For Christmas, she got me 2 packages of Burt's Bees. There was a cool way and a warm way. And in the warm way, there is grapefruit, which is a pinkish color. There's apricot, which is an apricot color. There's rhubarb, which has got a little bit more red to it. I'm kind of interested to see how that looks. In the cool way, there's peony. The one that I tried this morning is watermelon. But the last one is fig. And I used to use fig all the time until my daughter told me that with my skin tone, that fig made me look like a zombie. Thank you, honey. But she introduced me to peony, and all is good in the world. And so out of all of these, I want to try those 5. But I thought that I would do a pass along of this one. It has not been opened. It does not have lip germs on it from me. It's sealed. So if you are interested, if you use Burt's Bees, if you use colors like fig, if you're interested in trying a Burt's Bees in this colorway, Burt's Bees. Again, because it's so small, I will send it anywhere. So the only thing I have left to talk about is the new people on flosstube that I have watched. Get my notebook, go back a couple pages, find my people. The first one I watched is Martina. She is expanding stitches, and she describes herself as an Irish lass living in Germany. I watched her first video, and on her first video, she shows a piece that she's stitching that she designed, and she sells it on her Etsy, which is also expanding stitches. So go check her out. The pattern is very lovely. It's more of a sampler style pattern, but it's pertaining to health in 2020, and it's beautiful. So go check out Martina. The other one that I want to talk about is a mother and daughter. They are Fiber Tribe, and it's Fibre, Fiber Tribe. They're in England. Mother is Rosie, daughter is Helen. Rosie does not do cross stitch. She knits and crochets. But the daughter Helen is stitching not 1, not 2, but 3 Alphonse Mucas. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I had to watch that, and I will be watching more of that. One of the Alphonse Mucas that she is stitching, I think, is from the same Etsy shop as the one that I abandoned. What I can see from her piece is that the detail is looking good on hers, but I don't see a border on hers, and maybe it was just the border on mine. I'm not going to go back and stitch it again. I've moved on to my other one. So anyway, Fiber Tribe and expanding stitches, those are my new floss tubers that I wanted to tell you about. And on that note, I think I'm done with everything. So until we meet next time, live long and stitch on, my friends. Bye-bye. And I didn't bring the remote upstairs, so I'm up close and personal. So I'm sitting down here in the kitchen, and I'm doing the editing for my video, and I realize I didn't finish the story. When I was at Acorns and Threads, I said that I was outside talking with Anna and Robyn, and there was a crazy lady who was yelling at us from across the parking lot, but I never said who that crazy lady was. Well, when we were inside and doing our shopping, and I was over by the fabrics, a 4th shopper came in. Now Janine went over and said, you know, we have enough customers in the store right now, and this 4th person said, I really need to use the restroom. So she let her come in. And as she went walking past where I was standing at, I realized it was Cheryl, stitching with the sisterlies. And her sister, the crazy lady, Colleen, was the one who was outside. So we invited them to join us over at the McMenamins across the parking lot from Acorns, and after we did our shopping, they had their turn. They did their shopping. They came over and joined us for lunch, and so Colleen and Cheryl and Anna and Robyn and her husband Rob and I sat outside on a chilly January day, had lunch, chatted, laughed. It was fabulous. And if I can figure out how to add this to my video, you'll have the rest of the story. Live long and stitch on, folks.